can you just tell me about the park that you manage?
So the AWCP, or the Alameda Wildlife Conservation Park, was set up to house a selection of animals that were found on ships passing through the Strait. So Gibraltar Customs entered those ships, I think randomly, and they found these animals on board. Some of them were sort of illegally trafficked, and some destined for animal testing centres like the long-tailed and pig-tailed macaques that we have. Some were for the illegal pet trade, so the African greys, and we have cockatoo as well that was illegally trafficked. So that was the beginnings of the park. Since then we've had animals that have been brought in by members of the public, exotic pets that they can't keep anymore, tortoises, parrot, long-lived animals that are quite taxing to look after for a long time.
But exotic pets really aren't the way to go, are they?
No, I mean, we would discourage it through and through. We've actually we have a large group now of African or grey parrots that are now listed as endangered because of the illegal and the legal pet trade. So we are working on research projects that are sort of looking at the behaviour of these animals when they come in to us from, singularly kept at home in a cage, in a home environment, usually left most of the day alone. They're diurnal animals, they're very sociable, very intelligent, they need a lot of stimulation. So feather condition might be poor, they might be plucking their feathers out, and a lot of signs of stress. And just showing that progress through introduction into a group, how their behaviour changes, how they're using their time in a more natural manner. So it's really important work that we're doing to show the difference, and hopefully people will sort of sit up and listen a little bit more and think about these decisions they're making about what pets they keep.
So how is the facility funded?
So we have partial funding from Gibraltar Government, and that's been right from the very beginning. When the animals came in, Gibraltar Government put up the money 50-50 with EU funding as well to set up the enclosures. And since then they've funded the staff and they've funded the basic costs. So we're talking food and veterinary costs and things like that. Beyond that, it's money from income, visitors coming in, and external donations as well.
I mean, in effect, you started by accident.
Yeah. A happy accident.
Yeah.
I think it's an excellent resource for Gibraltar in itself, not just for visitors coming in, but also for the local population. We do a lot of community work.
The lemurs the ring-tailed lemurs seem to be a little bit of the star of the show.
Yeah.
There, so they obviously seem to go down really well with the visitors, don't they?
Definitely. I mean, it's one of the reasons that we wanted to take on lemurs. Not only they're in endangered species, Madagascar is a real hotspot for conservation issues. All the species there are endemic to Madagascar, so they are pretty much threatened across the board. The species that we took on were the ring-tailed and the browns. They were all majority confiscated animals anyway, so that sort of tells the story of that. But having that immersive exhibit where people can sort of go and get in contact and in touch with nature, I think it's a really important part of, appreciating and understanding and hopefully going on to help protect nature. I think that's a really core reason for those immersive exhibits that we have.
The parakeets seem to take a liking to me.
They did. Yeah, I mean, they're quite characters. I mean, again, they're not a particularly rare species, but they're very interactive. And I think, again, the interaction and immersion where the animals choose specifically to interact with you, I think that's a really important point, and it's something that we try to drive home about contact with wildlife. That's really something we discourage unless it's the animal coming after you.
You're involved with other zoos and sort of animal welfare sort of facilities around the world, around Europe? Or?
Yeah, so in 2016 we prioritised, after we renovated the park, we prioritised getting ourselves into the the British Zoo Association, which was quite an achievement. We are one of the smallest zoos in the association, obviously. That opens up a lot of opportunity for our staff, training, conservation and conferences that we attend yearly, and that's really important for our training and development. But also in terms of sort of exchanging animals, being part of breeding programs as well. We've been working a lot in the last few years with Stichting ARP, which is a sanctuary, an exit sanctuary in the Netherlands, and they do a lot of work, especially with the Barbary macaques here in Algeciras, trying to prevent the illegal trafficking of these macaques as well.
Obviously enjoy being able to facilitate visits by the tourists and the cruise ship passengers.
Yeah, that's an excellent source. Before COVID, we were really enjoying having pretty much all of the liners that came in. We would get a good group come up. It helps to alleviate the queues that you get at the cable car, the inevitable queues. They would come and visit us, and it's a really good source of income. And really, the feedback was really positive as well. I think it's something we missed during COVID, is having that interaction with our visitors.
Is there any sort of project that you'd really like to sort of get off the ground, or you could use some financing for at all? Well, probably everything, but is there any sort of particular project that you sort of think, would really love to, try and do this?
For the animals, we've got a lot of small projects. It's a very small zoo, so we've got a lot of little projects that we're expanding the cotton top tamarins area, improving the security, having monitors that we can monitor our species, and we do a lot of work online on social media, so it'd be great to have cameras that maybe even a little bit interactive as well, that we can add. We've got a new app coming out soon. At the end of the month we should have that up and running, so that'll help a lot with our admin as well, sort of buying tickets, which is difficult with a small team. Having somebody at the desk when you're trying to feed 60-odd animals is quite difficult. But so that would really help as well.